Hi there. Welcome back to my channel. Today is another video on a Dear Debbie letter that I have received. And it says, Dear Debbie, I grew up being constantly criticized for thinking the way I thought. In other words, every time I would make any kind of a mistake and I would utter the phrase, well, I thought that's how you were supposed to do it, my father would criticize me and say, well, that's what you get for doing your own thinking. So here's the question. Can self-hypnosis and law of attraction help me get beyond this programming? Keep watching for the answer. Before we get started on this very important subject in our Dear Debbie letter today, please make sure you have subscribed so that you will be aware. If you ring that little bell, you'll get notification for each video. I try to put up several every week. And so thank you for subscribing. Give me a thumbs up if you like this kind of conversation here. Let YouTube know that this is valuable content. So let's get back to this topic. I think it's very common that we become immobilized. We become afraid to make a decision about what to do out of concern that somebody else will disapprove or they will judge. It's interesting how we do that. I call this assigning authority outside yourself. And I will tell you that practically every single client I have ever worked with does this. And why? Why do we do this? Here's why. It's necessary for us to do this when we're little kids. We need to believe, as we are children and we're growing up. And you remember what it's like when you're little, and it just seemed like all the adults in your life and in the world knew all the answers. It's like they had already gone through all the ranks, and that when we did the same thing and we got to that age, we too would be, the all wise ones. Then we find out that's not true. But when we're little, we have to believe that our parents, our grandparents, our aunts, our uncles, our neighbors, our teachers, all of these grown-ups, as they're advising us and offering their insights, their opinions about what we're doing or what we're not doing, we just have to believe that they do that because they know best. I mean, who are we to know what's best? Our parents tell us when we're children how to dress. You can't go to church wearing that. You can't go out in the yard wearing that. My mother she wouldn't even go out to the mailbox to get the mail unless she had full hair and makeup on because, oh my God, what if somebody saw her? What would the neighbors think? And that is just the residual from that early childhood programming. So when we're little, we kind of depend on that guidance. Unfortunately, we do so at the cost of our own independence. So we go through, adolescence, those teenage years, and, for a while, our family's opinions become less important and our peers' opinions become more important, but we are still delegating all of those decisions to somebody outside ourselves. We are listening to the kind of music that we think we ought to listen to, because if we really listen to something else, what would our friends say? They would make fun of us. They would tell everybody, you would be the laughing stock of the neighborhood, all of that kind of thing. So you can see where it's a natural kind of a programming that we go through. But here's the thing. Once we become full-fledged adults, that is time for a rite of passage, because you realize as you become an adult and you look around at all these people who you thought had it all figured out, nobody has it figured out. And there is not one single person on the face of this earth who is qualified to make any kind of judgment or assessment about anything you are doing or not doing. Let me say that again. Not one single person in this world is qualified to pass judgment on you. Your opinion about what you are doing is the only valid opinion in the universe, period. Case closed. Now, sometimes we do things And then, we look back on it and we say, I should have done that different, or I wish I would not have said that, or I wish that I would have said that. That's the learning and the growing process. That is not a problem. That is not a negative. That is not a judgment and saying, oh, I did that wrong. I should have done it this way. No, it's you analyzing your progress. You paint a picture and it's like, I really like it all, but you know what? Next time I'm going to add a little more blue over here. I think it would look better. Okay, that doesn't mean the last picture was wrong. It means you have assessed your own situation, and your opinion about the way you did something is the only opinion that matters. Nobody is qualified. Okay, now having said that, okay, you may find that, this is a very extreme example, but let's say you've got a brain tumor. You're going to go to a specialist who's going to offer his opinion about what you should do. And that is an opinion that you should listen to, feel into it, see if it feels right. But he's not offering an opinion about you as a person, that you are a bad person because you got this brain tumor, that you caused it, et cetera, et cetera. This is actually kind of a common insult that people like to sling around at each other in the law of attraction world. If you have something going on in your life, like you got a brain tumor, some people would say, oh, well, what kinds of thoughts are you thinking to attract that into your life? Whoa, very judgmental. Very judgmental. Sometimes things come into our lives that we are not necessarily crazy about. But remember this, number one, we conscious us, we cannot see the big picture. Okay, keep that in mind. So we cannot see the big picture. And number two, the second part, don't take score too soon. Yeah, maybe you got a brain tumor and that sucks. But you know what? 5 years down the road, that you can look at the string of positive events that happened only because you had that unfortunate thing happen in your life. So we can't see the big picture. Don't take score too soon. But most importantly, you can use self-hypnosis in the law of attraction to give up the programming of always assigning authority outside yourself. And I highly recommend that you do. Start to depend on your own experience, your own impression. You are the only one who's accountable to yourself. I always tell my clients, when they're like, well, I'm worried about what people will say, or, I didn't dare do this or that because, people might think I'm crazy. I'm like, who are these people? Who exactly is it that you are living for? I call it the invisible audience. We all have one, right? I mean, I still catch myself doing this sometimes. I'm like, oh, I got to change my clothes. I got to run to the store. I can't go like this. But here's the thing. I'm doing it because I'm not comfortable in that. I know that if I were to wear whatever to the store, yeah, there might be people who look at me and think, oh, there's a piece of work, whatever they think. I don't care what they think. They don't know me. They see me through their filters of BS, through their filters of their programming, right? One person might see me in my weird clothes at the store and say, bully for her. She's got a lot of balls to just, go to the store, dress the way she is and grab what she needs and get back home and get back to it. Somebody else might look at the same outfit on me and just be, oh my God, look at that woman. Let's take a picture of her and post it on social media because that is just ridiculous. Well, here's the thing. Neither one of those people are qualified to pass judgment on anything I say or do. So some of the audience that I'm catering to is invisible. Some of it isn't. But in answer to this letter about, can self-hypnosis help me with this? Absolutely. This is one of the most common things I help my clients with. I help them with emotional addiction, and I help them with this idea of assigning authority outside ourselves. That shows up in all the craziest places. Quick example, I was working with a gentleman on a completely different issue, and he just wanted one of the nicest guys, enjoyable clients that I've had in years. And he said he did this thing that we were talking about this. He said, you know what I do? He said, on the day that my housekeeper comes over to my house to clean, he says, I take all my knickknacks and I move them from where I like them and I put them to where I think most people would put them, because I'm afraid she's going to think I'm a wacko if she sees the way I decorate my house. And then after she comes and she cleans, then I put them all back where I actually want them. Isn't that hilarious? I mean, this man, this was an incredibly well-educated man. He was, very wealthy, very centered, and he was well balanced, and he was a nice guy. He didn't have a lot of deep, dark problems. And yet he was catering to this invisible audience and actually doing things to avoid the potential judgment from a woman who came to clean his home each week. I thought that was just a kick in the pants. You can see we all do it. We all do it. Okay, so no beating yourselves up over it. Now that you know about it and you know that you can change that, that's it. There's the awareness right there. That is the first step to getting that subconscious mind on board with the conscious mind. The conscious mind wants to say, you know what I really want? I want to be absolutely free from any concern about judgment from other people. Now that is a beautiful outcome. And you can accomplish that with self-hypnosis. And as you do that, then you change the programming in the subconscious mind and you start to emit that frequency. And, after a while, you just become completely oblivious to the mere idea that anybody would pass judgment on you or disapprove of you or anything you say or do. Your opinion about the choices you make is the only opinion that counts. So if you're relating to this, if you had an aha moment or it's got your brain churning, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more. If you have questions or something you're wondering about, send me an email. Put my little email address right there for you. Please make sure that your question is short and to the point. I don't want your life story. I just want to know what your question is. Give me some context if you want to, but yeah, I would be happy to answer these. I'm going to keep this going. I think it's fun. It's a good way for us all to learn. So thank you for your contribution, and I will see you next time.